All righty. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Many of you were here with us just a few months ago when we opened this beautiful place where people in the community can get food in conjunction with the Atlanta Community Food Bank, Invest Atlanta, the City of Atlanta, from the TADS that Atlanta Public Schools, Fulton County, and the city contributes to make sure that these type of places exist where folks can get fresh, affordable, and in this case, free food for families across this community. We were gathered here then, and we did not know at that time that we would be gathered for such a situation that we're facing right now. As you all know, November 1st sparks a date on the calendar where SNAP benefits, if not by federal action, SNAP benefits will disappear for millions of Americans across this nation, and for about 1.5 million Georgians and roughly about 580,000 residents of Metro Atlanta. The City of Atlanta recognizes that the potential lapse in federal SNAP benefits poses an urgent threat to food security and for stability for thousands and thousands of residents. This goes beyond just Atlanta's city limits. This goes all the way out, all across Georgia. And for the ARC, the Atlanta Regional Commission, which I serve as the chair, the 11-county region, as I said, 580,000 residents receive SNAP benefits and about 1.5 million people across the state of Georgia. Without federal action, many households, especially children, seniors, and working families could face this crisis in accessing nutritious food. The city is acting quickly to ensure residents aren't left behind, while policymakers in the White House and in Washington, D.C. debate. ATL CARES, and CARES stands for Community Action and Relief for Emergency Support, is Atlanta's emergency response to the federal funding lapse. And I'm standing here with two outstanding city council members, Councilmember Boone and Councilmember Overstreet, as well as a number of other members of city council that are either on their way, but they are supportive of our actions to help feed our families. And I'm also joined here with members of the Atlanta School Board, as well as Dr. Johnson, the school board superintendent. We're here with Board Chair Mitchell and member Chevy Brooks, as well as Superintendent Johnson. This ATL CARES will serve as a bridge initiative designed not to replace SNAP. We cannot replace SNAP, but to fill the gap that is existing because of this federal lapse and to protect residents with their basic needs. The city is mobilizing what I call the group project, as always, and using every available resource, that's public resources, private and nonprofit resources, to ensure that families have access to food, water, and essential services. No resident, none, should go hungry or wonder how they'll feed their family because of political gridlock. Therefore, earlier today, I issued an administrative order directing the following actions. The Commissioner of the Department of Watershed Management will refrain from terminating the water services of any residential watershed management customer due to non-payment from today through January 31st, 2026. The Atlanta Housing Authority, Atlanta Beltline Incorporated, Fulton County, the City of Atlanta Land Bank Authority, Invest Atlanta, Partners for Home, and the City of Atlanta's Department of Grants and Community Development are called upon to institute a temporary moratorium on residential evictions and filings in city-owned, city-sponsored, and funded housing units and housing developments, also through January 31st of 2026. These entities subject to this order are instructed not to permit the issuance notices of termination or initiate evictions for non-payment of rent, and not to permit the imposition of late fees or other charges due to late or non-payment of rent during the term of this order. ATL CARES is being implemented in partnership with the Atlanta Community Food Bank, Gooder Community Market, who you'll hear from both of them soon, Hosea Helps, and a host of local community organizations, faith leaders, and volunteers. And like I said, we will hear from two of these partners very soon. We selected each of these partners for the unique support they bring to the table. First, the Atlanta Community Food Bank's network of suppliers and distribution centers reaches people at every corner of our region. With over 150 distribution locations across Atlanta, we could not serve communities without their infrastructure and their expertise. And then we have Gooder. Gooder has been a solid partner with the City of Atlanta from the inception of Gooder, that Jasmine and her team have been doing an amazing job. They've helped us to stand up fresh food access points in unique places like our recreation centers as well as our city schools. We know that this new model of food access helps ensure we can eliminate food insecurity for so many people. And Hosea Helps, a staple in the Atlanta community for decades, is deeply focused on moms and babies. As our lead on WIC support replacement, the addition of diapers and toiletries ensures people can get access to resources they need in addition to their nutritional needs. The City of Atlanta's Department of Watershed Management will also suspend SNAP recipient residential water service disconnections, ensuring no household loses access to clean water. These measures ensure that Atlanta's most vulnerable residents have a safety net no matter what happens at the federal level. So the city and all of our nonprofit partners have to step up when federal ranks don't get the job done. And so there are also 3 ways that you as the community can help. So this is where you pay attention here. And we're calling on all Atlantans in the city in this meeting to meet this moment. 1 is to contribute money directly to our local food bank and community partners. You can give money directly to them, and I'm sure Kyle Wade and Jasmine can make sure that you all know how to give to them. You can support a local family through your neighborhood association, NPU, or your church. You can host or participate in community food drives at schools, businesses, faith groups. You all can organize local drives to help close the food gap. And so ATL Cares and the City of Atlanta is prepared to be productive to ensure that every resident in every neighborhood has access to food, water, and dignity. A comprehensive list of resources can be found on the city's website, which is atlantagA.gov, and also on the City of Atlanta's social media sites. Across all faiths, religious canons all call upon us to feed those in need. I am calling on everyone listening to give freely, and to give meaningfully to the resources that we've just described today. This is a moment that we have to meet together. This is a group project, and the crisis that these families will face, that they're really staring down right now as the clock rolls towards November 1st and November 5th, is something many of us will never comprehend. And as a community, it is our moral obligation of all of us to help those in need. And now it is my honor to bring up the CEO of this very great organization that we stand in one of their locations that we partner with them on in Adamsville, Councilmember Boone. I bring up now Kyle Wade, the president and CEO of the Atlanta Community Food Bank.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And we appreciate your leadership, the leadership of our friends on the Atlanta City Council, for all that you're doing right now in this moment to help take care of our community and ensure Atlanta continues to be strong for the future. My name is Kyle Wade. I'm the president and CEO of the Atlanta Community Food Bank. And what I want to share with you today is that lines are already very long at food pantries all across Atlanta and North Georgia. We have at the Atlanta Community Food Bank seen the number of people accessing food assistance from our network grow by 70% over the last 3.5 years. Most of that is due to the impact of inflation in our community. And so we're already serving more people than we ever have, more people than we did at the peak of the pandemic. And that is before any of the impact of the shutdown that we're now facing. We know that this shutdown is going to drive up that level of demand even farther in a couple of key ways. First, federal workers and contractors are not being paid. They missed their first full paycheck this week, and they are now scrambling to try to find ways to put food on the tables of their families. Second, as the mayor described, the shutdown is going to cause a disruption to the SNAP program, which supports literally hundreds of thousands of individuals across our community. Every month here in Metro Atlanta, those individuals receive more than $100 million worth of SNAP benefits that they can use to purchase great, high-quality, nutritious groceries across our community. And this month, those resources are not going to be available. Those families are going to need support as they try to access food for their families, and we're going to have to provide more support to ensure that they have the food that they need. I want to applaud the actions that the mayor just described on how we can put our arms around our neighbors here in Atlanta and remove some of the economic pressure that they're going to face. The food bank is going to work very hard to increase the amount of food that we can provide into the community. We have announced just today that we are taking $5 million out of our reserves so that we can provide an additional 6 million pounds of food into the community over the next 4 weeks. That amounts to about 300,000 additional pounds of food a day over the next 4 weeks once that food starts to land in our warehouse. And it's going to ensure that we can meet more of the demand that we are going to be facing over these next several weeks. As the mayor said, we have a lot of strength and resiliency in this community. We can do great things to try to fill a big part of the gap that is being created by the disruption to the SNAP program. But we also know that the SNAP program is so significant in its scale that we won't be able to fully meet that need. We need the government to reopen so that we can restore funding to the SNAP program and ensure that our neighbors have access to those important food resources. In the meantime, we need the community's support. We can all make a big difference. The food bank is going to need financial support so that we can sustain this effort. We don't know how long this shutdown will go. It could extend into December. And for us to sustain this elevated level of distribution, we're going to need financial support from our community to sustain that effort. You can go to our website, acfb.org/shutdown, and it will be very easy for you to support us financially. In addition to that, we have many community partners who could also use your support financially, could use your support as volunteers. You can get involved with our excellent local school system, Atlanta Public Schools. You can advocate and share your voice for our elected officials in Washington, helping them understand why it is so important to get the government back open, and you can volunteer. So there's no shortage of ways to get involved. Now is the time to join, as the mayor describes it, our group project to keep Atlanta strong. This is the time for us to put our arms around our neighbors and ensure that every one of our neighbor families in Atlanta have the food that they need and that our community remains strong for the future. So we appreciate you being here. We appreciate your support. We're going to have to work together to get through this crisis, but we know this is a strong city, this is a strong community, and working together will ensure that Atlanta continues to be a great place to raise a child and to have prosperity for the future. Thank you, and I want to introduce now Jasmine Crow Houston, the great leader of Gooder.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Mayor Dickens, and to the City of Atlanta and everyone for being here today and bringing attention to this urgent issue. My name is Jasmine Crow Houston, and I am the founder and CEO of Gooder. And when I started building Gooder back in 2016, I was living not too far from here in Southwest Atlanta, and I was a SNAP recipient. I received $194 a month, and I will tell you that that support meant the world to me. It allowed me to think, it allowed me to eat, it allowed me to dream, and this was way before groceries are where they are now, which, just so you all know, is a 47% increase. Less than 10 years, we have increased the price of groceries 47%. So that nearly $50 a week that I received was a lifeline for me. And I want you all to think about this, that food is not a luxury, it is a lifeline for so many people in this community. When we talk about SNAP benefits being cut off, we are not just talking about policy here. We are talking about real people, families, seniors, children, all who, from the last week, I have been receiving constant emails and phone calls from of people really in sheer panic, not knowing how they're going to put food on the table, not just for Thanksgiving, which is, I think, what everyone's thinking about. We're talking about for tomorrow, for Monday, when kids go to school without access to breakfast and other items. So food insecurity, I will say to you all, is not a problem of the poor. It is everybody's problem. When people can't eat, they can't learn, they can't think, they can't work, and they can't thrive. And if we are in this as a group project, as Mayor Dickens often says, it's on all of us to make sure that our neighbors have access to food. I want to share with you just a bit about what Gooder is doing before I turn it over to Superintendent Johnson. We refuse to stand by, and so we're taking action and getting started. We began delivering meals just yesterday. I was in Big Bethel Village delivering meals to about 80 seniors. Are really excited to see me. We are building complete meal kits, starting with our breakfast kits and our taco, pasta, and snack bags. We have families coming to our Gooder Community Market at Edgewood, as well as iVillage, which is just down the street at the Hamilton E. Holmes MARTA station. They'll be able to pick up 2 at a time. We are delivering to the doors of seniors. I am asking people to please go on our website. We have all of these resources posted, gooder.co. We know that there's a really big digital divide with a lot of our seniors. Therefore, we haven't seen a lot of form requests come in from them. So if you are a caregiver, if you work with seniors, please complete it. We will deliver to the door of any senior here in Atlanta. On Sunday, we are gathering volunteers to make another 1,000 bags that we'll be getting over to APS, and those will be distributed at our student support hub, where we also have a grocery store. And, you know, because at the end of the day, food is the foundation of everything. It is our health, it is our learning, it is our dignity. It's ultimately why we exist at Gooder. I know firsthand what it's like to feel the need and also what it's like to have the help. And as I said earlier, I don't know if I would have ever been able to build my company if I wasn't able to eat while dreaming this vision alive. And so I'm grateful to have been a SNAP recipient before and to now have helped millions of SNAP recipients over the last 9 years of having this company. So I say to you, not just as the founder of Gooder, but as someone who has been on the other side of that struggle, let's all make sure that no one in Atlanta or anywhere has to choose between their dreams and survival. And so I thank you all for your time, and I'll pass it over to Superintendent Johnson.
Good afternoon. My name is Erica Mitchell. I'm the board chair for Atlanta Public Schools. I am joined by my board colleague, board member Chevy Brooks, and also Superintendent Dr. Johnson. I didn't know what side you was on. We are deeply honored to stand here before you alongside of Mayor Dickens, Kyle Wade from the Atlanta Community Food Bank, Jasmine Crow Houston with Gooder. We are united by a shared purpose because thousands of families in Atlanta are facing uncertainty due to the federal delay in SNAP funding. For many of our students, those benefits means having food on the table, and without them, we risk our students becoming hungry. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are we doing for others?" Today, we answer the question through action by coming together as a school district and a city to ensure no family, no child goes hungry. When a student comes to school hungry, learning becomes secondary to survival. That is why this partnership matters. It's more than food. It's about dignity, stability, and hope. Atlanta won't wait for a crisis to define us. We act with compassion and purpose. Dr. Johnson will be able to speak more on how to get involved with APS. We know we have the hub, we have volunteer opportunities, but together we can make sure that every child in Atlanta, every family is nourished, supported, and ready to thrive. To our partners, the City of Atlanta, Atlanta Community Food Bank, Gooder, thank you for standing with us. Your leadership and collaboration demonstrate the power of what is possible when we work together as for the good of the community. And like Mayor Dickens always said, this is a group project. Dr. Johnson?
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. My name is Brian Johnson, Superintendent of Atlanta Public Schools, and I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank Cal Wade and Atlanta Community Food Bank, Jasmine, and the Gooder Foundation, as well as Hosea Helps, for their partnership. I will echo what Chair said and what the mayor said. This is a group project. The reality is approximately 17,750 Atlanta Public School students rely on SNAP benefits. More than 1,000 of our students are unhoused. This is not a political issue. It is not a policy issue. It is a human issue. And I'm proud to be in a city that cares about the people and that cares about children, and we will continue to partner in whatever ways possible to make sure that our children get exactly what they need in order to be successful. I want to point folks to a website, atlantapublicschools.us/APS Food Now. We encourage our parents and families to access that website for key information in regards to programs and opportunities that are available in this time of challenge. Additionally, through the Gooder Store partnership, on Wednesdays and Thursdays by appointment, the APS Hub, which is at 601 Dr. Thomas Cole Drive, is available and open by appointment. We will continue to provide grocery items and essential items to families. We'll continue and have begun our monthly distribution, but we will continue to ramp that up. There's no way we will allow our students to be without, and I'm proud to work for and with a school board and in a community that, again, cares about people. To our parents and to our families, to our students, even to our teachers and staff, because one of the things I think is often forgot is that folks that are in our line of business and are public servants, this impacts them directly. They feel deeply for the children and the families that they get the privilege of serving every single day. We want you to know as a school district that you are not alone. Our social workers, our counselors, our family engagement specialists are ready to connect immediately and to support you. So please, please reach out. Every child deserves security. We're unapologetic about that. And again, we thank the mayor and we thank this city, all the leadership, for making this a priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Johnson. Thank you, Board Chair Mitchell. Thank you, Kyle Wade. Thank you, Jasmine Crow Houston. Thank you to the city council members, and we have been joined by Council Member Michael Julian Bond, Marcy Collier Overstreet, and Andrea Boone, and a host of my cabinet and leaders of the Office of Constituent Services. You've heard it here. One thing that I wanted to say directly to APS is just thank you. Thank you. For many days, you have been the primary meal for many of these students. They can get a free breakfast and a free lunch at school, and many times even after school. But we're facing an unprecedented challenge right now where so many families, as you mentioned, over 17,000 kids in our city school system are SNAP recipients, and when that cuts off, the only meals that they would have gotten had this group project not taken place is the free lunch that comes at Atlanta Public Schools. So thank you for what you've been doing. Thank you for your distribution that you did earlier this week, and that you are promising to continue to figure out ways to support these children. It is hard to teach a hungry belly. A child that is worried about where their meal comes from, or how their mom and dad or siblings are going to eat that may or may not be in school. How do they eat? And so, Kyle Wade, you've experienced that and supporting families for many, many years, and your team here at the Atlanta Community Food Bank. Thank you. And Jasmine, thank you for sharing your story and your testimony of how you've gone from being a SNAP recipient to lifting as you climb, to helping others get to their destination in life by giving them food to fuel their dreams. So thank you. So I stand here ready for any questions.
All right, let's start over here.
We're going to work our way this way? And if you don't have a question, you don't have to give one. But
Mayor Dickens, just for clarification, the moratorium on water shutoffs and the rent concession, those are for SNAP recipients only or for anyone?
yeah, so we're trying to we would like it to be for those individuals that are SNAP recipients or federal employees that's been, people without income. But it's going to be hard to go through that. I can't even promise you that we'll be able to have that level of specificity. So at this point in time, it's going to be pretty open as we double click on how to navigate it for specific classes of individuals that have faced these troubles. There's going to be folks that are, you may be a federal supplier that now can't do your work because that division of the federal government is shut down. So the business that you're in that supplies the government has led you to be without income right now. So, we kind of just leaving it wide open.
Mayor, what type of conversations are you having with our federal delegation, and what is the message that you're sending to them about the impacts of the shutdown?
Yeah, literally, I would say 20 minutes ago, I was talking to Senator John Ossoff about what's all going on, and we've been in constant conversation with he and also with Warnock and congressional delegation. They're worried. They're fighting the fight. They understand the challenges of people being hungry in the community, people being without health care as those Medicare, Medicaid benefits are taken away. They understand all of these challenges, and he even reminded me that November 5th is actually the first day. And Kyle, it's November 5th is the day that you will not be able to use your EBT card. But if you have residual monies left over from October, you can still use it. It'll still work on November 1st, but you're not going to get any new money in if the federal government doesn't step in. So he educated me on that. And also on conversations that they've been having and attempts at getting the gridlock in Congress to subside. They're really trying to work on a package that can help get the government unshut down or open back up. He wasn't giving me any promises, though, but they're doing all they can, and they're standing on the principles that we believe in, which is that you have to take care of people with all these federal resources that they actually appropriated. He also told me that he thought it was illegal and that states are suing the federal government because these funds have been appropriated and that they should be, able to be distributed, and that secondary, there's emergency powers that the president has to be able to continue these type of operations, which he has also used to pay ICE and others. He could have done those emergency powers. So these are all Ossoff's. If he was standing here, these would be his talking points, and he knew that I was going to be standing here, so I guess I'm translating. Well, the city of Atlanta can't. That's not our role, but that's what the state can do. But we're doing what we can do right now. But yeah, we stand ready to make sure that everybody is that the federal government. They take a lot of the city of Atlanta's employees' taxes. They take a lot of the city of Atlanta's business taxes in the federal government, and we would love for those taxes to be used for the purposes that they were assigned to.
Do you have any idea how many Atlanta residents will be impacted by this moratorium? I know you said it's kind of, things are still being worked out, but do you have any rough numbers?
Yeah, so if the moratorium, the part on shutting off water would be for anyone that is behind on their water bill and is about to be cut off. So we will not, turn off their water. So that's between now and January 31st to make sure that during this crisis of you not getting paid or you're not having SNAP benefits where you're making choices of how to eat or how to pay your water bill, well, we're going to reduce that burden on you so you won't have to pay your late fees or anything such as that. We don't want to be additive to any kind of pressures that people have. It does not make your account go to zero. So do not we want you to conserve water. We want you to pay your bill if you're capable of paying it. If you are gainfully employed, not a federal employee, not receiving SNAP, and not in any kind of financial jeopardy, don't burden the system by not paying. Go ahead on and pay. But that is that. And then on the other side, related to Atlanta Housing, Atlanta Beltline, all of the city entities that have housing, we are placing a moratorium on them from eviction. So if individuals, and let's say they don't get paid right now as a federal employee and they can't pay their November 1st rent, then they're not going to be evicted because of that. They will be allowed to stay and not have to face the consequences of evictions or late fees, et cetera. That's a fantastic question. I am going to let them respond because they know more about the nuts and bolts of how many pounds of food and how much. But I can tell you that there is no replacement. The Atlanta Community Food Bank is doing, they're punching above their weight. They are standing taller than ever before in this moment. But there is nothing that equates to what a federal SNAP program, which is funded by all of our tax dollars, could do. So they are going to extend themselves, and we're going to support them, and we're going to get lots of donations to these nonprofits, but there is nothing that can replace what we have already paid into. So there's a gap, and I'll let them explain, how that gap works and what they're thinking, how long it can last.
Well, I think what the mayor said is essentially the most important thing to take away from your question, which is ultimately this kind of response we're going to do great things in Atlanta to try to fill the gap, but we cannot fully fill that gap. And this is not going to be sustainable forever. We're already in uncharted territory. SNAP benefits have not been disrupted in prior shutdowns. In the 2019 shutdown, they were not disrupted. And so this represents a new frontier for us in terms of seeing this kind of disruption. The food bank is deploying $5 million additional dollars to get more food into the system over the next 4 weeks. We're going to try to get tremendous support from the community, so if we need to sustain that into December and beyond, that we will. But ultimately, we're going to do permanent harm to our community and to communities across the country if we don't get the government back open. So it is already a place of unprecedented experience that we're in. We're going to work hard together to get to sustain this effort for as long as we need to, but we need the government to be open.
I agree 100% with both Kyle and Mayor Dickens. We have been experiencing a lot of need prior to SNAP benefits being cut off, so I don't even think that we're sustaining. We're really just doing what we can to stand in the gap, but we do need the government to be back open. People do at minimum need to get their SNAP benefits. This is up to $2.60 per person per day in a household, and with all the donations that we can get in, we just would not be able to supplement that.
Yeah, we are about to start those conversations with the governor. I did see his comments recently stating that this is something that he is currently not interested in, opening up the what we call it, the fund balance that we have, the surplus that the state has. So, I'll make my case that this might be a good time to do so. Because we are facing a crisis. I understand his rationale for sure that the federal government has to do their job, and that money should flow into the state so the state can distribute these benefits to people. But at the same time, I don't know how long that. I mean, we're pulling things together as much as we can right now on the local level, and so eventually it's going to be unsustainable for us to do food drives and donation boxes and all these things. It's just not sustainable when families are across Georgia are getting $300 to $400 a month in SNAP benefits. That's, we're not going to be able to give that kind of donation power from individuals that have already given to the federal government in their taxes. So my answer to everybody is that if we can encourage these federal lawmakers to get together and overcome this shutdown, let's do so. Let's all of us, make our voices heard everywhere we can. You see where we stand. We're standing on a group project that has yielded benefits in the past, so that's what we're doing right now in the city and Metro Atlanta. Anybody else?
Mayor Dickens, could you talk about the process, like how this whole thing came together and how quickly that you had to work in order to make all these agencies work together?
Yeah, what happens when a crisis occurs, the great thing about Atlanta is everybody starts saying, hey, we need to do something. And I think what we can do is this, and I think what we can do is that. And so we just started making phone calls to people we knew always shows interest in the heart. So we knew the Atlanta Community Food Bank was going to be instrumental in this, and we knew that they were already working on a plan, so we called them, and we were already, together immediately after we did, the first conversation. We also said, let's talk to Jasmine Crow Houston and Gooder. But these are conversations we've already been having, because we were talking about for the last 3 years how we overcome food deserts, how we get people in Atlanta closer to food access that's affordable and healthy. So we've already together created grocery stores and funded food access programs. So these are quick phone calls, and we're very proximate to each other already. So these groups were, easily to pull together. And then, internally, we said, well, the city can also help people's burdens directly. What do we charge people? Well, people pay water, people pay rent. How do we, get involved in helping out as quickly as we can? And so we asked the law department and city departments what kind of things they could do to help anyone that's in need right now. And this is what we've come up with in like 2.5 days. We likely will come up with more. I've made phone calls to certain individuals that are very charitable, and they are looking at what they can do. So they're talking to their financial accountants. They're looking at their balance sheets, and they're looking at their organization's portfolios to see what they can lend to this, how they can help these organizations that we just mentioned. So this is ongoing, but we're calling this press conference today because in a few, days or less, we're going to be facing the SNAP benefits going away. So we've come a long way in a short amount of time, but there's probably more that you'll be hearing about as we get closer to, locking down some other partners. All right. Thank you all. Continue to contribute. Thanks.
I'm just